Watching the chase today on Christmas Day. Here's to hoping that you did have an incredible day celebrating with family, friends. You stayed safe on our roads as it is the festive season. There is bound to be an increase in road traffic accidents. Now, my name is Faith Nyawa and you're watching the chase tonight. As I did say earlier, it's the festive season, and as our discussions over the past few weeks have been, we are talking emergency response and what we can do to protect ourselves on our country's roads as we travel to and from our various destinations. Now, yearly, we experience an increase in road traffic accidents, especially around this time, mainly due to reckless driving, reckless behavior, human error, things that can be avoided. But the main question is, what can be done then post-accident? Because be it as it may, in as much as we might try to avoid and stop road carnage from happening, accidents are just exactly that. Accidents, and they are bound to happen in as much as we might try to stop them from happening. So what then do you do post the accident? How do you save your family? How do you save everyone at a post-accident scene? If you're a passenger or you're a person walking by an accident scene, what service or what help can you provide to people who have been involved in an accident? Are you aware of who you can call? Are you aware of what needs to be done? Now, we are having this discussion in studio today with some very special guests. We have the police. We also have some different service providers who are going to be helping us delve into this. Now, I'll just start with Clara. Clara is a medical doctor with Heli Drive. In studio, we also have Captain Vadim Vagapov. He is a chief pilot with Heli Drive. We also have Elliot Chivige. He is the Discovery Ambulance Service paramedic, and Commissioner Paul Nyati with the Zimbabwe Republic Police. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the chase.
Thank you so much, Faith.
Thank you for inviting.
Well, we are wearing Christmas colors as it is right now. The holiday fever is now upon us.
Yeah.
Now, thank you so much for joining us. Like I did indicate when we did start the show, it's a season where that's characterized by an increase in road traffic accidents. Police Commissioner, I just want to start with you. Are you ready, or were you ready for the festive season and the troubles that it might bring?
Certainly, Faith. We have been ready since November. Remember, we made our deployments early, and in terms of preventing accidents, in terms of responding to road traffic accidents, we have had a stakeholder approach where we have breathalyzers, we have speedy traps, we have worked together with the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe, the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure Development, the ambulance services, particularly Discovery and others who have come on board. That's why I find that in our deployments along the highways, as we speak now, you will see ambulances, so that if an accident happens, people are quickly assisted. And we have gone beyond that. We have deployed the National Highway Patrol, where we are saying along the way, if something happens, people can easily be assisted. Police officers can quickly attend to road traffic accidents. But what we need is information, so that these scenes are responded to quickly. Because one of the challenges which we realize as the police is that people, they make reports late. And by making late reports, it affects the post-crash response to assist the victims. And one of also the challenges which we have also realized at the police is that there's this culture among Zimbabweans. When we have accidents, people, they don't quickly assist. Rather, they are quick at taking photos. Within seconds, you see photos circulating on social media platforms. Then you tend to wonder what is happening. Where is our Ubuntu gone to?
Now, like the commissioner is saying, most times when accidents do happen, the first thing someone thinks of is taking out their phone. Is it because they are not aware of what kind of help they should be providing to victims post-crash, or is it just ignorance? Now, I'm glad that we do have emergency service providers with us in studio so that we can help unpack that and talk about it. Elliot, let's talk about what happens post-crash. Are people well educated on the service or the help they can provide to people?
Definitely, I would say not yet. People need to be educated in first aid. Lack of knowledge can lead us to graves, I can tell you. Like I always say, things that kill a human being are as simple as A, B, C. Your airway, your breathing, your circulation. These things can easily be corrected by a first aider, a first responder. So as a country, we need to do a lot in terms of empowering the community in terms of first aid training.
Now, Commissioner, I'll just want to come back to you real quick. How often do you realize that most fatalities are happening post-accident?
Very often. You find that sometimes when accidents happen along the highways, where emergency services are far away, ambulances sometimes they tend to take a long time to come. And as they are coming, you find that people who could have survived, people who could have been assisted, they are then found dead. Something which is really, really an area of concern. That's why we are saying for this season, we are happy with all the stakeholders who have come on board. But we still need to do more in terms of make sure that after an accident, the post-crash situation is managed properly.
Now, we also have HeliDrive with us in studio. You're meant to provide quick service, fast response in a matter of hours or seconds if possible. If you could just tell us about HeliDrive Air Ambulance Services, Captain.
So we started in August 2024. That was the first medical flight. Ever since we did the 1,154 medical evacuations. We have 6 helicopters, but 2 helicopters based in Harare Hospital, 2 helicopters in Bulawayo, and now hopefully in January we're going to launch another base in Victoria Falls. So anything around 150 kilometers away from that location of helicopters can be easily be evacuated. All we need is just to get a good call for us, and we're working for Ministry of Health. So as soon as we get the flight request, helicopter can take off in 10 minutes. So let's say if it's 150 kilometers away from a base, we can be there in about 45, 55 minutes already.
So
and we're flying in with the 200 kilometers an hour, straight line, no traffics. Mostly we're bringing in Harare patients to Harare Hospital, Sally Mugabe, Paririnyatwa and Chitungwidze, sometime to Marandera. So things can happen very quick, but we're working only with Ministry of Health, so we have to get the request not from private person on the phone, but some doctor have to give a request for medical flight. And of course they're making assessments depending on severity of the accident, of the trauma. If it's light, maybe they're not going to call a helicopter, but if patient is dying and they don't have much time, so they're calling a helicopter, and we definitely willing to help. And I would like to mention all that flights will be for free for every citizen of Zimbabwe.
Now, Clara, we are talking about trauma that is very bad or an accident that's very bad. If you could just tell us, what are some of the instances where HeliDrive has been someone to say, we have to come and provide air ambulance services to this particular patient? What are the most common cases, so to speak? And do you also provide this same service for very traumatic road accidents?
All right, thank you, Faith. So like what Vadim has mentioned, we do inter-hospital transfers. We collect our patients from hospitals to the central hospitals. So yes, we have received calls for accidents that are for patients that are post-accidents, but like what Elliot is doing, they are first collected by the road ambulance and they take them to the district hospital where we then go. So the good thing is that because they're already at a hospital, they've been stabilized. So when we then go, we are going to get someone who's been attended to in the immediate setting, and then what they now need is the specialist service that is required at the central hospital, which they might not have at the provincial hospital. So I won't say that there's a place where we've gotten to and we have to start stabilization in the moment, because every hospital that we go to has a nurse, has an aide, has a doctor, so they do the work before we get there.
So now let's talk about the challenges that you're currently facing in Zimbabwe operating in an ambulance service. Does it have anything to do with perhaps logistics, law enforcement, or anything along those lines?
I'll let the captain take that first and answer.
We definitely have lots of challenges to organize helicopter medical evacuations. It's a lot of pieces in the puzzle, and we're slowly putting everything together. So I would just want to mention a few of them. So we don't have much of a refueling points. That's why our range is a little bit less. So we have to do more planning to get the refueling points so we can fly longer. Then another challenge is this high altitude, 1,500 meters above sea level. and hot temperature. So it's for every helicopter in the world. It's actually a little bit heavier to fly than if you're flying in a colder weather or near a sea level. Then most of the hospitals doesn't have any helipads. So landing zone is not improved, and there is lots of dust, which is also not really good for our helicopters. And we would like to ask the hospital to improve the landing zones where we're going, so it will be safer for us to land. Also, when we're landing, lots of time people kind of very excited to see helicopters because some of them maybe never saw helicopters that close, so they're acting wild. So also we'd like to ask hospitals to provide us security, so people who around the helicopter, they will be more organized. We're allowing them to take pictures, but we don't like them to touch a helicopters and break something, you know, because it's very expensive equipment. And that's probably it. I don't want to name a whole list. It's going to be a long list.
Okay. So, Commissioner, when we started the show, you did talk about what wrong things most people do at an accident scene. Instead of providing help, you're taking pictures. Is there not a law that stops people from doing that, or that criminalizes or penalizes people for doing that in an accident scene?
Remember, Faith, we've got the Cyber and Data Protection Act, which makes it a criminal offense to take photos in such circulating them without even the consent of the person concerned. It's something, we'll go back to what Elliot said, the issue of education. We also need the media to play a part. It's not only about the police, it's not only about the government. All stakeholders have to play a part. And when you also look at the Road Traffic Act, it is very clear when a motorist, when a driver has been involved in an accident, the first thing, if he is not injured, the first thing which they must do is to render assistance to the injured. Yeah? And then report to the police and allow the due process of the law to be followed. But sadly, in Zimbabwe, it is not a culture amongst our drivers. Drivers, they don't assist accident victims. That's why I find that in some situations where people could have survived, where people could have been taken to nearest medical facilities, they have not been given such assistance because of the drivers. Maybe we say lack of knowledge, maybe we say attitude, but all in all, I think the drivers must also play a part. They must also play a ball and assist accident victims.
Now, Elliot, when people do try now to assist or provide help, they seem to be doing it wrongly. In how many cases have you realized or seen where people provide the wrong kind of help when they think they're helping, but they're actually making the situation quite worse?
Thank you so much, Faith, for that question. As I've been actually idling to interdict. What actually happens is, from a paramedical perspective, most death and most loss of limbs are caused by wrong extrication methods from a motor wreck. If I go to human anatomy, the spinal starts from here, C-spine, all the way up to the sacrum. That area is very, very sensitive. And actually your centers of life are here, at the back of your neck here. So if people wrongly touch you or wrongly handle you, it can be very, very fatal. It can be very detrimental to your life. So it goes back again to the issue of educating our people. We need to educate starting with the police officers. Usually they are the first ones to be there. If as a nation we make it mandatory that every police officer is trained in first aid so that they know at least how to handle the ABC that I talked about. At least know how to move someone from a vehicle wreck. So from a medical perspective, we actually encourage people not to move patients unless it's really dangerous, like there's risk of a fire or there's risk of, unstable terrain or something. We encourage them to leave the patient in there until medically trained professionals come and do the correct extrication using correct extrication devices and methods.
Commissioner, this is to just confirm that all the police officers are well aware of how first aid works and they're able to provide the correct help properly.
Faith, we've reviewed our treatment curriculum, and Elliot is right. We now make it mandatory for police officers to get first aid training. And when we also do our promotions, remember police officers, they engage in written promotion exams. We also require them to be tested in first aid training. And we work closely with those experts who offer first aid training. But remember, we are dealing with human beings. There is need for regular review, regular training, so that people, they don't forget.
Captain, you have been operating in Zimbabwe for a year now, like you did indicate. Now, how have you been coping? How has that experience been like, apart from the challenges that you did mention earlier on? How has the year been so far operating in Zimbabwe?
Generally speaking, we're very happy with our progress. We're cooperating with every services, with the police authorities, Ministry of Health, and civil aviation authorities, and everybody cooperating as much as they can, and we're quite happy. So we're opening up more bases, and we have a big plans of improving the landing zones around the hospitals and adding more refueling points. So we'll cover the whole Zimbabwe with our services, and will be more helpful to Zimbabwean people.
How many rescue missions have you had so far since you started?
Well, all flights is a rescue mission. So we did 1,154 missions till today.
That's a lot.
And that number is adding up every day.
You said you work with the police. Do you work directly or?
We're not communicating directly. So we're receiving a flight request from Ministry of Health, which is government hospitals. So police working with the hospitals, and we're working with that hospital. So they're sending us requests, and we're just flying there.
Elliot, we have heard about them. They're saying they're deploying everywhere they can in as much capacity as they can. Now the festive season has started already, and now it's about to get to its tail end very soon. On the 1st, it will be over and the hype will die down. But how many ambulances have you deployed on the road so far, and have they been really effective in providing the help that they should provide?
So far we've deployed 10 ambulances, and I can confirm that we are in Makuti. We have an ambulance parked there as I speak. We are in Bedbridge. There's an ambulance roaming around Bedbridge. We're also in Chiredzi. There's an ambulance that is parked there in Chiredzi. In case of anything, we are in Masvingo. We are in Jerera, and we are in Vuma. We have also parked and stationed in Juliusdale, that's Manicaland, and 22 miles, that's the link between Mutare and Masvingo as well. Then we are also in Murewa and Mutoko. So I can safely say we have deployed those ambulances, and we are good to roll.
Well, you are watching The Chase. Today is the Christmas edition of The Chase, making sure you stay safe on the roads. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoilt.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
That guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Welcome back, gospel music lovers, to another season of My Ultimate Gospel 10. your ultimate destination for soul-stirring melodies and inspirational stories.
Might prepare me for a good day.
God is faithful because He's holy.
Like, wow, this is beautiful.
Each week, they'll be revealing their top 10 gospel songs. Meet Miss Becky K, the dynamic and passionate new presenter for Season 3.
If you are ready, let's get into My Ultimate Gospel 10.
Premiering soon, only on ZTN Prime. Stay tuned and let the music uplift your soul.
Welcome back. You are still watching The Chase. Thank you so much for staying with us. Like we did say, it's the Christmas edition of The Chase tonight. We are making sure that you're staying safe on the roads. And if something does happen, are you ready and prepared to deal with it? Now, before the break, we did touch a bit on, the service or the help you can provide to accidents post-crash. Now, I want to really ask the Commissioner this question to say, most of the accidents that people have witnessed over the festive season or even beyond that are caused by them shika-shikas. I know we talk about this over and over again. But then again, it seems like those cars are allowed to pass roadblocks over and over again. Commissioner, has enforcement really been enough?
Certainly, enforcement has been enough. For this festive season, the Commissioner General of the Police, Commissioner General Stephen Mutamba, has made it clear that any police officer who allow a pirate taxi or a mshika-shika to pass through a police checkpoint will certainly face the due consequences in terms of discipline. We are certainly going to take disciplinary measures. And we are also saying the public should consider their safety first. We are talking about medical here, where you also saying it is in one's own interest to board vehicles which are insured, to board vehicles which are licensed to be carrying people or to be carrying passengers from one place to another, whether within intercity or intracity. And also remember, we've had, said situations where people have been involved in an accident. Let's take, for example, the recent Nyamapanda accident which occurred on the 17th of December, where 10 people were crammed in a Honda Fit died.
10 people
yeah,
in a
we
Honda
checked
Fit.
and discovered that there was no police checkpoint or roadblock along that area because that Honda Fit was traveling from Toko to Kotwa. And one, these vehicles are not insured. Two, they are not licensed to be carrying passengers. And when you have such an accident, the government is ready to come on board, buying coffins, buying food, carrying the mourners, and also taking care of the medical bills for those injured. Something which can easily be prevented if all of us listen and also consider what happens after the accident. We're talking about post-crash. The effects. It's not only the effects on the victims, even to families. Is what happened to the families. You see, the families are losing breadwinners. The families are losing people. Just imagine somebody who is at university, somebody who has just graduated, dying in an accident without even utilizing their educational qualifications. That's why we're saying post-crash, people should look at the impact of a road accident to several people. And not only to police officers, even police officers, they're also affected. Remember, they're human beings. Just imagine, seeing bodies of 10 people, seeing blood everywhere. It's not good at all.
Now, Commissioner, you have mentioned that police are charged, or officers who allow unroadworthy vehicles to pass through their roadblocks are looked at and investigated. How many officers have been charged with this crime to date?
I did not bring the figures, but definitely we have taken action against police officers. We've allowed the pirate taxis, we've allowed the mshika-shika to pass through checkpoints. And remember, even the Minister of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage, Honorable Kazembe Kazembe, has been speaking about this. Even the Minister of Transport and Infrastructure Development, Honorable Felix Mona, has been speaking about this. And we are now saying, besides the driver and maybe the conductor, we are also taking action against the owner. So what it entails is after an accident, we also need to profile the vehicle, who owns it. And we, even before an accident, for the first season, we are impounding all pirate taxis. Every checkpoint where commanders are going, we've made it clear that they must make sure that pirate taxis are impounded. And the people are then assisted to board vehicles which are licensed, which are authorized to be carrying passengers from one point to another. And above all, those vehicles must have full insurance, third-party insurance.
I'm sure
it
you
will
should.
assist, in terms, you remember, if you're talking of a plane, an aeroplane, they need fuel. Yeah? If you're talking of an ambulance, they need fuel. So we must also make sure that as we talk of post-crash, we consider those issues.
Now, have you also thought of maybe perhaps arresting the passengers? Because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are helping these businesses bloom.
It's coming, Faith. Particularly people who board these pirate taxis, Mishika, at undesignated points. For example, if you talk of Harare, there are places which are known, you see. So we'll certainly take action. Remember, we did it previously, and there was an outcry. If you included some lawyers, they complained. They said, why are you arresting the people who are waiting for passengers at undesignated points? So we will take action, not only against the passengers, even the motorists themselves. If somebody wants to get into the business of carrying passengers, they have to be regularized. They have to be registered. In the process, they are contributing towards the safety and security of Zimbabweans.
Now, earlier we're talking about pirate taxis. We're talking about how dangerous they are on the roads. When we talked about this again last week, we did talk about the Nyamapanda accident, and how dangerous that was. Now, since then, or this period now, since you've deployed your ambulances in almost all the areas, how many accident scenes have you actually attended where these pirate taxis have been involved in, if you do have the numbers?
We have attended to more than 10 accidents. I can confirm that 3 of them are involving pirate taxis. Honda Fits, Toyota Grand Vias, they've been involved.
And they have been fatal?
Definitely, yes.
Now, in as much as HeliDrive does not offer that service to say, oh no, at an accident scene, we are now coming to get people, you're getting, the patients directly from the hospitals. I just want to understand or get from your perspective, how many times you've had, traumatic or very fatal patients who are coming from an accident that involved pirate taxis, if you ever look into that?
So I cannot confirm that we have seen a lot, because it's not really information that we look for when you're getting a patient. Usually it's this patient was involved in an accident, maybe a car and a lorry or this, and then you get into maybe the injuries they've sustained, what has been done by the hospital, and what is needed next. So to have statistics of the people and what's involved in the accident, yeah, I'll lie about that.
So now there is this notion that it's a HeliDrive, it's an air ambulance. It's bound to be expensive, but you did say it's free.
Very free.
How then do you make people understand that it's not really an elitist service? It's a service for each and everyone who needs to have it. How educative have you been about it? How informative have you been about it? Have you been telling people about it? And if you have been, how have you been doing that? And how receptive have people been, Captain?
I think Dr. Clara, you'll answer it better.
All right, so what we did in the beginning when we started off was to engage our main stakeholders, which is the hospitals. So we communicated with the nurses in charge, we communicated with the doctors in charge, with the provincial medical doctors, to let them know that we are providing this service and this is the pathway to referral, this is what we do. So already the doctor at a provincial or district hospital knows there is HeliDrive. They know the number to call. They know how to triage a patient who needs the specialist service that HeliDrive can assist with. So that's the biggest thing. We're trying to inform the people that refer to us. Like I've said, we don't necessarily deal with individuals. What we advise individuals to do is whenever you have a problem, take it to the nearest hospital. And then the medical professionals at that hospital will then get in touch with us if there's need on our side.
Now, the key point or the key part of this being, as long as it's a private hospital, you're not going to be able to render the help that they need. They have to be at a public hospital.
Well, I cannot say yes or no, but I can definitely say we mainly work with public hospitals We have had instances, one or two maybe, where you have to transport a private patient, but our pathway is definitely public hospital. We carry patients from provincial district hospital to the central hospitals.
Now, Elliot, in as much as, you know, an ambulance service is a business, like you continuously say sometimes, to say we need, the commissioner did mention it, you need money to make sure these services continue running. There has been a number of ambulances being launched in the country. Do you think that has helped in terms of the service provision post-crash or whatever the case may be?
It has not really helped. If you check, most ambulances are sprouting around urban areas, especially in Harare. You don't find an ambulance in Makuti, you don't find an ambulance in Gurue. The ambulances are all in Harare where they think the bread is buttered. So I would say, as a nation, I think we should take a leaf, we should learn from what others are doing. And I can say, we are moving in the positive direction at the moment. Discovered Ambulance Services has approached a lot of government departments. Most of the ministries have been knocking at each and every door for each and every ministry and government departments to say, let's go into public-private partnership, and it's yielding results. As I speak at the moment, the deployment I was talking about, it's in collaboration with the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe. It's in collaboration with Insurance Council of Zimbabwe. It's in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. So I'm glad we have heli drive today, which is also a step in the right direction, although we need to align some of the things that I think need to be aligned. As an example, as they've already alluded, that they only transfer patients that are at a facility already. From an EMS perspective, we have two types of calls. The first call is called a primary call. A primary call is when someone is under a bus, someone is on the roadside, someone is in the bush, in the office, at home. That's a primary call. We need the heli drive to also come into that space where they work with us ambulance services. From what I've seen, they are more of working with hospitals and doctors in hospitals. We want them to come also to primary calls. The other type of call which they are already doing is inter-facility transfer, where someone who has already been assessed, probably their airway, breathing circulation has already been managed, and now they need a specialist who cannot be found at a provincial hospital. So in terms of the golden hour, we want a heli drive in the jungle, in the primary calls.
Captain, do you think that's something that would be considered or something that could be worked on?
Generally, we have to do it, and we did a few calls for road accident directly next to a car. What we have to work is communicate with each other and train each other, because in aviation it's a little bit more risky. We have to land on a sinkhole, which will be definitely not improved landing zone. So we want to make sure we're not crashing, we're not killing anybody, and that landing zone is well prepared for landing, first of all. Second, we need communication with the doctors, with the medics. So is it call actually really require the helicopter, or it's not? If there is only a broken leg, maybe it doesn't worth to send the helicopter. But if patient die, probably they need a helicopter. So we have to communicate with that. We have to also send the right coordinates. So it can be done, and we can do it, and we're ready to do that. All we need is just organize each other and make it happen more often than it's happened now.
No, Commissioner, like Elliot did say when I asked him to say, have the increase in ambulances also meant, or have they translated to an increase in quick service provision? What would you say from a law enforcement perspective? Earlier I did hear you mention that sometimes it's quite difficult for ambulances to get to places, but has it improved from the previous years, or it's just still the same, just urban areas are the ones that seem to be getting all the help?
Well, partly, Faith, yes, the situation has improved, but we'll be able to gauge the extent of the deployment of ambulance after the 1st of January, after the Christmas period in the 1st of January 2026, where we will not be analyzing the whole spectrum of the activities conducted during the festive season. So definitely we also look at the contributions of the ambulance services, whether they've assisted, whether we need to improve. But the issue is maybe we need to improve the deployment of ambulances. Let's take, for example, Blair Road. I was giving figures here of what happened. You find that some of the accidents they were carrying it at places where you think that drivers will be alert, but surprisingly, you see that you have accident at places, straight patches of the road. You see, so these are some of the issues which we also feel they need to improve. And also look at the night situation, where you find that drivers, they tended to take night driving for granted. Yet night driving has got its own challenges. The issue of vision, the issue of observation, and then in the process we have accidents. And at night, it takes a time for people to respond to emergency situations. And this has been a challenge, I tell you. Sometimes the police have had to go there, where at the end of the day, you were speaking here, our medical experts, they're speaking here of people who are not qualified to be handling, victims. But we have had such situations, particularly at night, where people, they arrive at a scene where 10 people have died or 20 people have been injured, and the people have said, I can't just wait. I need to take these people to the nearest medical facility. But in the process, they are also worsening the situation. That's why we're saying sometimes people who are supposed to be surviving, they end up dying because of the way they've been handled at the accident scene.
No, it's a good thing that you do mention the accidents that happen at night. Now, I want to understand from the medical experts in studio with us tonight to say, Elliot, do you provide ambulance services late at night? If an accident is to happen at 1 a.m., are you well equipped to go there and assist? If it's happened at 12 midnight, or you're just there during the day where everyone can see you, like, oh, this is a Discovery ambulance service in Makuti, and then late at night, it's nowhere to be found because probably someone wants to go and sleep or they want to go and rest. Are you well equipped to be providing services that time of night?
Categorically, I can say we work around the clock.
Categorically.
24/7. Our toll-free number is 991. Call it at any time. You'll get an ambulance. Ambulance.
And then as heli drive, do you also operate at night? If there is a medical emergency at night, are you able to go and assist? Are you able to provide help?
According to Zimbabwean regulation, aviation regulations, we're not allowed to fly during the night, so we're operating only from sunrise to sundown.
So if there is an emergency late at night, you just have to ignore it?
We're not authorized to. We don't have any permission according to regulation to fly at night.
And it's not something that can be reviewed?
It's a mountainous terrain, so actually very dangerous to land at night between the mountains. So it's very risky, become very, very risky to fly.
Now, we're talking about, the service that you're providing and how it has to be supported monetary-wise. You said this one is subsidized already. Someone is already paid for it, so you're getting it for free. But have you ever had instances where someone says, I am very happy with this service and I would really like to pay for it? And if that happens, do you allow it to happen?
No. We're not supposed to take any money from anyone. We're subsidized by the government. We're receiving money out of Ministry of Health. According to contract, we're not supposed to take any money from anyone.
Okay. And Elliot, competition is healthy, is it not?
Very, very healthy.
And how healthy has your competition been in terms of the ambulance business?
It has been very, very helpful. As I speak, we have collaborated with Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe, Insurance Council of Zimbabwe. There's also a new player in the industry, HEMS, Highway Emergency Medical Services. Out of the 10 spots that I was speaking about, the remaining 10 were given to HEMS. So it's a 50-50. So it's been very, very helpful in terms of service provision to the nation.
Now, lady and gentlemen, as we now prepare to summarize and wrap up this conversation, are there any things that you would like to say to our audience and our guests? Today is Christmas Day, like I did say, and our emphasis or our main discussion why we're sitting here is to ensure that people are safe. Accidents do happen. We cannot stop them, but are we making sure that they're safe after the fact? Commissioner, anything you'd like to say before we conclude?
As people make, let us be responsible.
Let
us make sure that as we drive, if we have an accident, let us consider assisting first before we take photos, Let us also make sure that we alert emergency services so that they come on board and assist some of the victims who could survive rather than taking photos. That is our message as the police. So all in all, we're saying, let us be responsible.
Elliot, anything you'd like to say? And also, please, just if you could just give our audiences a reminder of the golden hour that you always talk about.
Thank you so much, Faith. The golden hour is a concept that has it that someone post an injury, traumatic injury, if they receive definitive help within the first 60 minutes, it improves chances of survival. So let's always respect and take care of the golden hour. Whenever there's an emergency, let's treat it like an emergency. Let's activate the emergency systems. Currently, we have different toll-free numbers, but we're heading somewhere. We had a discussion with the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe. We are centralizing. We want to have one national toll-free number. And I also want to encourage everyone in Zimbabwe to take up a first aid course. We are offering first aid courses for free at Discover Ambulance Services. We have trained more than 300,000 people so far around the country. So I really encourage everyone in Zimbabwe to have a first aid course.
Captain, how do you think heli drive has changed the way that medical emergencies are being handled in Zimbabwe as we conclude?
Well, we're learning every day, and anytime we open up a new base, seems like anytime we're coming to a new town, seems like people getting more excited and they're getting more organized. So in the beginning, when we start flying, people was very, very wild. Now they see yellow helicopter more often. They become more responsible. They're acting better. They're helping out the crew. So I see big improvement in Zimbabwe, and I would like to continue to do that. So more towns in Zimbabwe will see yellow helicopter landing in town and pick up the patients.
And this is something that you're planning to do in a period of how long, if I can press you on that?
Well, we definitely dreaming to make it more quicker, but things ways the way it goes. So now we have two bases in Victoria Falls. We'd like to open a base in January next year, which has come very, very quick. Then Mutare and Mashwingo. Mashwingo will be next.
Okay.
If we'll put all bases there, hopefully next year, we're going to cover a whole Zimbabwe.
And Clara?
I have a lot to say. Firstly, doctors also need to rest. So please do everything you can to drive safely, to drive, not to drive under the influence of alcohol. And like Elliot has mentioned, to engage the services, the least you can do is always make sure that you have a toll-free number that you can contact. Don't start looking for a number at the time that you're in an accident, and know who to call, know what police number to call. We're always on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. The police has done a lot in trying to put out their numbers. Know who to call in an emergency situation, and give us some rest, please.
And with that, we conclude tonight's episode of The Chase. Thank you so much for joining us and for ensuring that you listen to this very helpful discussion. In studio today, I was joined by Police Commissioner Paul Nyati with the Zimbabwe Republic Police. We also had Elliot Chivige, Discovery Ambulance Services, is a paramedic. We also had Captain Vadim Vagapov with Heli Drive, as well as Clara Kunyarimwe, sorry for that. Clara Kunyarimwe also from Heli Drive. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on The Chase.
Thank you for inviting.
And for our audiences, thank you so much for making the time and for joining us. Please do stay safe. The festive season is still upon us, but make sure you do not drink and drive. Stay safe on the roads, and make sure you take up a first aid course training, ensuring that you are able to provide help as soon as you can to people that do need it. I've been your host, Faith Nyaude. Merry Christmas, and enjoy the rest of the festive season.
Koitwa chinombonzisungura chii? Chakabva kupi? Yakauya rini? Nani?
Musambononzisungura patakautangira pacho rwendo.
Sungura yakabva mukanindo imomo.
Imhando yemusambo wenziyo.